Hello class, today we're going to talk about value, which is the physics of light, and do some skill building with it. You can see in this picture how the light falls on the statue, and some parts of it are light, some are dark, and that's what creates the illusion of three dimension. But what is light? Light is visible energy, and it comes from several different ways. A natural light source is created by natural means. So that would include things like the sun, stars, lightning, fire, bioluminescence, which is living creatures that produce light, that glow naturally, phosphorescence, which is minerals and chemicals that naturally grow, and there's a few other things. The moon doesn't create its own light, but it reflects light. So it is a light source, but it's not creating it. Artificial light sources are created by mechanical means, like our regular light bulbs and LED lights, things of that nature. A directed light source is when it is focused on the object itself, like a spotlight. And ambient light is general light in the area. It's like being in a room with the windows, no blinds on the windows, and the artificial lights are off, and the room is still light, but it's not bright. It's just the ambient light. It's the natural light of the room. And over here we have a diagram of how light works. Light equals mc squared. And so you have got the magnetic field and the waves that go in one direction, and they kind of go horizontal. If you can imagine, that's what this graph is trying to show, is horizontal movement for the magnetic field, and then the electrical field is vertical and up and down. And then the distance between the waves, lambda, is how you can determine what is the wavelength of your light, which is what color it is, how bright it is, and all of those things. Black is the absence of light. In space, absolute black is found in black holes. And in a black hole, gravity is so strong that light itself cannot escape. In the picture on the right, you have got the very first picture they ever took of a black hole. And you see it, and if you look at the picture, it creates like an optical illusion with your eyes, and it seems to glow and pulse a little bit. But what you're seeing, the black hole, is what's in the middle. And because of the photography, it doesn't quite look black. It looks more like a dark reddish color. And that's because your eyes are picking up that bright ring around it. The ring is gas that's on fire, and it is in galaxy M87. So white is light that's reflected equally. All the wavelengths are equal, and it's white or clear. In the sky, our sun is almost perfectly white. It looks yellow to us because we see it through our atmosphere, and the chemicals and things in our atmosphere change the color of the sun. That's why if you are in certain places, if there's smoke or fog or haze, the sun can look gray, the sun could be a kind of a real burny orange or red, but in reality it's white. And that's an actual photograph of the sun. Black, white, and gray. Okay, black is the absence of light, white is the presence of pure light, everything's reflected equally, and gray is the mixture. It's an equal mixture. It can be spelled, and I realize that I've spelled it two ways in this presentation, G-R-A-Y or G-R-E-Y. It doesn't really matter which one you use. One is the American spelling, one's the British spelling. A tint is lighter. It's between gray and white, and a shade is darker. It's between gray and black. So if you talk about tinting the windows of your car, you're actually making them darker than pure white, which would be transparent. But your car windows have to be somewhere between white and a medium gray. They have to be a tint. They're not a shade because you couldn't see. Value is the amount of light. The elements of light we will talk about later in class when we talk about color, but they're the specific parts of light that are identified by value. And a gradation is a gradual shift in light from pure white to pure black. So this is a gradation from white at the top to black at the bottom. So reviewing yesterday's toolkit, when you're drawing with pencil, if you have light pressure, you'll have a light value, a tint. If you have strong pressure, you have a dark value, a shade. That's where the word shading comes from, to mean drawing this way. If you are holding your pencil more vertical, you can, and press down, you can make it dark and specific or a very light line. If it's a slanted angle, it's broad and you have more of a gradation. H is hard for pencils, B is soft, HB or number 2 is middle. So remember that. Today you should be drawing with your plain number 2 or HB pencil. The very first thing you're going to do is a grayscale. A grayscale is a range of value from white to black. They have 5 points is the one you're doing. It's very simple. So your first square is white. The second square is a light gray. And then you have your medium gray, then a dark gray, which is shade, and then black. So to do this, ruler helps, but if you don't have a ruler, you can just make some marks on paper. A hint is that the end joint of your thumb, between your knuckle and the end of your thumb, is approximately 1 inch, and you can use that to measure with to get your spacing, and then use another piece of paper to create a straight line. You're going to divide that into 5 sections. The first one, white, you don't do anything with. It should be plain white paper. The second one, light gray, medium gray, shade, and black. Make sure craftsmanship is important here. Fill your blocks equally and neatly. Your next exercise is gradation, and that's getting a smooth transition in value. You want the same kind of values, so it should have the same measurements, but don't draw the lines. And you're going to match your values, but smoothly, so it has this smooth blend. So the easiest way to do this, major hint, is start with black and put your black down here, and then instead of using your pencil, use a piece of a paper towel or another piece of paper, or you can even use your finger, and kind of smear the black towards the white so it gradually changes. You might have to practice this a few times until you get this nice, even, gradual kind of grays. You can do that with a pencil as well. It's up to you how you approach this. But this is what I'm looking for, is that smooth transition, because that's super important when you're shading things. And then for your studio exercise, you have ribbon work, using value to create motion. So the very first thing you do, step 1 at the top of the example, is draw a long curvy line. Don't make the curves too close together or too far apart, just a nice wave. And then you're going to draw another line, start at the same point, but make your curves a little differently. So sometimes they intersect, sometimes they drop above, sometimes they drop below, and then they end at the same point. And then you're going to shade the ribbons with values. At the ends and at the parts where they intersect, it should be dark. The whitest part should be lightest. So remember your gradation, because that's what you want. You don't want stripes. Put your black in, and then either smudge it over to the side with a paper towel, kind of smear it over, or ease up on your pressure until you make it light. And then you can go back at the end with your eraser and add in some really light areas if you want. So this is a computer diagram that shows how to do this and where the lights and darks are. And then this is a drawing of a ribbon. and this one is more complex, but that's okay. You can make it as simple or as complex as you want to. If you are somebody who draws a lot, go ahead and challenge yourself. And you can really challenge yourself to go even a little farther. The one at the top has multiple ribbons on it, kind of a curly key ribbon. This is just large and fairly simple, but very, very well done. So what you need to turn in, your grayscale, your gradation scale, and your ribbon work. Photograph them and upload them to Classroom. Thank you.